Kyber Cave in the cut, where the sabers ignite. Combat ready blades built for training or to fight. Every hilt hand crafted, every color on blast. When that crystal starts humming, feel the force in the craft. Collectors and duelists, yeah, we all come alive. From the Padawan beginners to the masters who thrive. Step inside the cave, let the energy flow. When the subber lights up, everybody gon' know. Kyber Cave, where the legends get made. Light up the room when the colors cascade. Every fan, every clan, from the sabers in your hand to the stories we expand. Yeah, the force in the air, Gen experiment on the mic, dropping truth everywhere. Every fan, every clan, from the sabers in your hand to the stories we expand. Kyber Cave, Kyber Cave. City's men on the cast.
Hey, what's up, my Kyber Cave family? We are in the house.
What up? Good evening.
Hey, all. What's up, Ralph? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you guys.
Brother.
Everybody in the house tonight. So this is a special edition of I couldn't even think of a name for the show this week, just because we have a very special guest that we have been just trying to get in here for so long, back when Saber Rattle was on, and I'm just super excited to get this man on the stage. We were gonna do nerdy news and all that kind of stuff, and maybe we'll still have some time at the end for nerdy news. I don't know. This to me is our nerdy news right here, because we've got somebody that's been a huge integral part of the Star Wars universe. This gentleman has started, and he's been in as a stunt and background actor in Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's also been in
Terminal.
Yeah, he's also been in the Book of Boba Fett as well, and we're just gonna let him we're gonna let him tell you. I don't know. I'm super excited. When I found out we had this guy on our show, we were gonna have him on a show, I got super. I turned into a fanboy. I didn't even know what to do with it. So because like I said, he's played so many amazing roles, no matter how small. No matter how small he's been, or whatever his character has been, he's done some cool, amazing things. If you haven't checked him out, you should definitely check out his IMDb page. But without further ado, what I'm going to do is we're gonna get into the intro, because I can't wait to get this man on stage and introduce him. So without further ado, I'm gonna give you our special guest right now. We, at the last second, looks like we just lost him, but Dmitriy Karas will join us again. Here he comes. He's back in. There he is. It's a bit show solo, but here he is. Dmitriy, thanks again for coming on.
Right on.
So good to see you
for having me.
I want to let you guys know, if you guys have any questions for Dmitriy, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll put them up on here, and we'll definitely try to get to them as quickly as possible. But Dmitriy, again, welcome. So I guess the first thing to talk about is just, what can you explain to our audiences, just in case nobody knows what you do? Can you explain to them what you actually have done, or some of your accolades that you've actually done within the Star Wars universe.
Sure, man. So I've gotten to play a lot of different characters. I've been fortunate enough to play on all 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, also the soon-to-release Mando Grogu movie. So I know
This
a
is
lot
the
of people are
way.
very excited about that.
Well,
Um, I'm an actor. I'm a stunt performer. I was one of the main creature alien performers on all of the shows. That's why I've gotten to play so many different characters. You never see my face. It's always in a mask or a helmet. Playing all these different guys. There were a lot of us that did that sort of job when we get used for all these different aliens because we can fit into all of them, but we also are able to play into all these characters.
Yeah.
And so there was a few of us that were selected that did that pretty regularly. Became one of like the main people.
So you're just basically in the main rotation for a lot of these different characters, a lot of these background characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of them were background, some of them were stunts, some of them were like there are background characters that end up being kind of like front and center still. And Stormtroopers were a big thing for me all the way from season 1 of The Mandalorian, back when I started in in Mando for season 1. I showed up there on the first day of work, and it was I was one of 50 or more Stormtroopers in episode 7 with Moff Gideon outside the cantina.
Okay.
So there's just a sea of us outside. We're just there's so many of us, right? And over time,
I'd rather have you than CG.
What's that?
I'd rather see you out there than CG. I'd rather than CG.
Oh no, for sure. I totally agree. And there are a couple moments that are a little bit weird where, unfortunately, it's a little confusing as to why they didn't use a group of us. There's throughout all of them, I feel like there's some scenes where they're very minor tweaks like that, but then you'll see like CG stormtroopers walking away or carrying something, and you're like, what? Why use that instead of? We already have all of us anyway.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's amazing. Like this is one of my favorite photos right here. Of
me too.
You with Ezra like that. I thought that's a pretty cool photo right there.
Definitely.
That was obviously shot, of course, for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
That was, what was that, like the last or the second to last episode, or?
Yeah, I think that was episode 7.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was episode 7. Yeah. We surround Ezra and Sabine.
Yeah.
And then they kick our ass.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
It's so cool to get your butt kicked by
I know. I always say because I had Ezra up until that point was very pacifist. He was only using the Force and not really doing and just like the hand-to-hand combat. And then I actually get shot by him using another stormtrooper's blaster. So it's like first time he uses a weapon.
Like I said, that's just got to be amazing. Like I said, you've spanned this whole kind of new universe within the Star Wars universe, like some of these newer shows, like I said, with Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. Like what was it like, even like I said, even being around some of those actors, like I don't know, like Moff Gideon,
yeah. I mean, Giancarlo is okay. So first of all, I mean, they're all badasses. Obviously, we know that. You guys have probably seen them at conventions and gotten to chat with them. They're all super nice, but they're actors and they're really good at what they do. So with somebody like Giancarlo, especially you've seen him most likely as Gus Fring. The dude's a menace.
Yeah.
And there were a few moments where we got to play very closely together, like in the scene where we walk into that the scene of me shooting Grogu.
Yeah.
We got to be really close together for a considerable amount of time, and during setups we're just standing around kind of talking. If it was like a short quick thing that was just like a small adjustment, he would stick around instead of like leaving off to to a dressing room or something, and we would just be talking, and he's very jovial and funny guy and likes to laugh and whatever, and then as soon as we get to the point of like, all right, we're about to roll, and he just instantly shifts and like dead serious, like dude scary. It's intense. You feel the intensity, like the energy that comes out of this guy.
Very intimidating.
Yeah, and I mean, he's the big bad, right? Like in the series, and you feel it. It's pretty dope. Like, I mean, I act, but like not like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'd be able to do quite that. I know it's also the persona that has the effect as well. It's not just like the demeanor by itself. So there's like the whole bigger picture with him. And it applies to everybody that I've worked with, from like big stars to like little guy actors. It's still like there's this intensity from that comes like from being like a good actor, if that's your role. Obviously, if you're playing somebody that's just goofy and silly, you're not gonna feel that. But then you jump into this role of Moff Gideon. That's some heavy intensity there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty intense. But I mean, like I said, just being able to work with, like, I've used to have the biggest crush and still do on Rosario Dawson. Even now that she plays adult Ahsoka, it made it even like 20 times worse. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's just a guy like me. But I mean,
she's a sweetheart, dude. She's so cool. She was like hanging out with everybody on set. Very, very friendly. Just super down to earth. I mean, and again, everybody is. There weren't, in my experience, on all of these projects, everybody was there to have a good time, and everybody was there to create a good product. Obviously, that's the goal. We want to create something that everybody enjoys, and but in the process of it, there are actors that you probably hear stories of being like a little standoffish or just like they kind of seclude themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think I really experienced that ever on any of these sets. Everybody was really super friendly and like talkative and obviously they have to pay attention to their lines and everything. They're focusing on their performance. But there's a lot of downtime when doing our jobs. A lot of time is just being you're just sitting there waiting for the next setup, and sometimes that's like a few minutes, sometimes that's a couple hours. It depends on what's being set up, and it's like there's a lot of time in between, and some actors will participate with everybody and kind of hang out and chat, whatever. Other actors disappear. So, but everybody was cool. It was really nice. We all have a good time, and like if it wasn't a good time, it'd be a lot more not difficult, but like you don't really want to go there. Like when work sucks, you don't want to go, right?
Yeah. So it's great that you can have a good time and still put out, like you said, a quality project, quality product, and that's what's amazing to me. I find that seeing the end result and being on a few movie sets before, like knowing the tedious process that comes with that, but as a fan, being able to see those end results and being able to see everybody's contribution, I think is amazing. I think it's utterly amazing. And you've been a part of some great some great projects. Definitely. I had a chance to meet Rosario a long time ago back in Oakland. She was a friend. She's a friend of a poet friend of ours, of me and Van's. She came to a show in Oakland, and when you stated that she was down to earth, that's what I remember from her as well. So like I for somebody else to say it and to see how just awesome and down to earth she is, just makes me think, okay, that's just her. So like that's just how she is. So
and even now, I mean, she's done
so much more since back then.
So much bigger stuff, and she just, I mean, again, it's I think it's a sign of first of all, cool people.
Yeah.
That like the fame doesn't go to their head.
Yeah.
And
enjoyable work
people that it does. What's that?
I said enjoyable work environment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she was awesome.
That's great. So I wanted to ask you. We were talking about some of the how awesome it is, and some of the awesome people you've had to work with and whatnot. But what are some of the challenges that you found, like working in these environments? Because I know, like you said, you're not just a background actor or just a actor. You also do stunts, and I know that can sometimes even take a toll on your body and whatnot. Like how do you find like I said, what are some of the challenges, and how have you been able to overcome some of those challenges? Like,
I mean, specifically stunt wise, is that what you mean?
Well, I would say stunt wise, but yeah, stunt wise, but even just balancing, your health and whatnot, and also still being able to, like I said, make sure that you're in tip top and making sure that you're still part of that process to put on give it your best and give it your all as well.
Yeah,
the preparation.
Well, fitness is a big thing. Fitness, nutrition. Obviously, we gotta stay in good shape and to be able to do the stunts. Generally speaking, I'm not trying to change my build too much, so I'm exercising with the intention of keeping in shape and staying ready and training, but I'm not trying to bulk up like crazy or be like super skinny. I'm trying to stick within like that small margin that I've been for a long time.
And that's got to be challenging in itself. That's got to be kind of challenging in itself to
for sure.
Yeah, to maintain it, because like you said, you have to play all these different characters and still be able to be, like you said, that kind of similar build that they're looking for, they want for these characters, whether it's a stormtrooper or whether it's a one of the various aliens that you might play or whatnot. So
right,
I would imagine.
I've been fortunate. So I mean, I got the job originally as a stormtrooper, and that was in season 1. And they, for all these different characters, they have very specific size requirements. And when I got there, it was they have like our like the systems that we get booked through. They have all of our measurements and everything.
Okay.
And so we got booked for that. We did the end of the first season, and then what actually happened after season 1 wrapped and season 2 was getting started, they contacted us again to come back to work as troopers because we had already done it on the previous season.
Gotcha.
But what happened with the costumes department, actually, like they shrank all of the size requirements, like the range that we could be from season 1 to 2, and a bunch of people that were troopers in season 1 couldn't do it anymore because either they just were naturally, like, they didn't change between over the break, they just were no longer within that range anymore, just because the range shrank. They didn't get bigger or smaller. It's just they tightened it up too much. And so I happened to land like kind of right in there, and then you just kind of continue to stay there.
Okay.
Now I got a question. How difficult is it to perform with all that mask and I'm sure it's pretty difficult to vision wise, and again preparing yourself to do difficult stunts like that. I mean, how hard is that?
I mean, so first of all, every character comes with their own challenges. Like the stormtroopers, you have the bulky ass armor. Everything is painful and pinching, and your range of motion is super limited because of everything is bumping into each other. Like all the pieces at the joints and everything are pressing against each other, and so it definitely makes things difficult to move. Then like the helmets though are pretty good because we can take them on and off really easily between takes. If you line it up to where the height of the lenses actually sits where your eyes are, then you can see pretty well, aside from the lenses fogging up from
stress and getting hot up and under
that. But we have our like the costumers come through and they put like anti-fog and stuff like that, so that helps sometimes. But so those are pretty good with visibility, but they suck with movement. Then you have like a lot of the aliens that I wear. They have potentially way more comfortable costumes, wardrobe, But the masks, just the way they're created, being aliens, they just have either weird positioning on the eyes. Like this guy, I'm looking through eye holes that are like set inward, like kind of toward the nose. And this one was actually pretty good because it's like right up to my face, so I'm able to see through the hole a pretty wide range. But there are other, like the other Mimban character that has just like opaque blue eyes, and I can only see shadows. It's like the red face with the blue eyes, and like the Trandoshan was one of the most difficult ones because it's a lizard eyes are looking like this, and I'm looking through a hole that's literally like maybe like 4 or 5 millimeters wide. That's crazy. And through there's the lens that's there that you see like the yellow lizard eye, but the center of it just has a tiny hole in it. That's what I'm looking through, and it's pointed sideways. So like all of this is just black, and then I have to actually like turn my head sideways to look straight at whatever I'm looking at. So doing that with movement, I have to constantly be kind of casually scanning my surroundings or what's in front of me. Mid take so that I see what's in front of me, because I can't just be walking like this and going
and trip over
right. So I have to constantly be scanning so I don't bump into any props or set dressing and stuff like that, or other actors. Especially when stuff gets crazy, a lot of the scenes with the Trandoshans, they're pretty fast paced with like either fights or like strife on Navarro. Yeah. And, when stuff gets really hectic like that, I don't know that everybody's like has the spatial awareness to keep up with a role like that.
I feel like I would be. I mean, I don't know if there's any room for chunky stormtroopers, but I feel like I'd be tripping all over things. Like if I was out there. So it's like I commend you for being able to like you said, having that spatial awareness and being able to not only. I mean, I feel like just walking could be problematic for some people, let alone
it's
like.
True, man. And it happens. We've definitely seen people trip and fall over stuff. There's been like even the creature performers, the aliens that. Sometimes you just miss something at your feet, or you think it's like a few more inches over to the side, and you just catch your foot on it. And like it's really tough to with that, when you can see fully, you can kind of right yourself, potentially catch yourself when you like trip a little bit. But then your visibility already sucks. You're in cumbersome outfit, and then you trip over something a little bit, and you just go down.
Yeah,
and I've seen it. I've seen it on set a bunch of times. And then you have moments like on Ahsoka where we're just falling down all over each other on purpose because we're just as one big mass trying to move together, and everyone's just cracking up laughing because some people are supposed to go down, other people aren't, but they're going down anyway. You try not to step on each other and then continue the scene. So
the outtakes for some of those shots must be hilarious. I could
the blooper reel is awesome.
like the blooper reel from that.
I wish we had stuff like that, man. There's obviously we're privy to a lot of it, so we have like those fun moments, but I do wish that they release stuff like that. I think it would be I know the fans would enjoy stuff like that. It's like the bloopers at the end of Jackie Chan movies.
It would be amazing to get to see all that kind of stuff. Right. But I like I said, that just brings me back kind of to the whole thing where I feel like, that's kind of where that whole kind of camaraderie building kind of thing happens, where when you're spending that much time with these people and you're being able to be your true honest selves and be goofy, but also work and take your job and your craft seriously. I think being able to blend both of those things kind of just makes for like I said, a good product at the end of the day. So
yeah. I mean that's the goal.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this, Dmitry? This will be a segue into another question, because I wanted to also ask, like, when did you transition into Star Wars? And then, like I said, I know you kind of spoke on it a little bit, talking about how you got in here for the Mandalorian, and then you just kept, fitting the
criteria.
The criteria for doing more and more and more and more stuff. So when did you get started into just the stunt business and acting business in the first place?
So I got started. My first stunt job was back in 2019. But I had already been, I was already practicing. I was already like training for it specifically with the intention of go after stunts. I got into the film industry, I think maybe like a year and a half prior to that, something like that. So I started doing background acting to, the usual process is like becoming a background actor, getting into SAG, starting to, well, for actors, usually it takes a long time because like you want to be able to act in like non-union productions for a long time to like, practice and build your acting reel and work on your skills. So actors stay non-union for a lot longer than stunts do. Generally, I think speaking, it's not exactly smart or safe to do a lot of non-union stunt jobs because there's no safety precautions. Sometimes there's no stunt coordinator, or the safety equipment either sucks or isn't there at all.
No hazard pay, no.
Well, yeah, exactly. So for me, I was like, I know I want to do stunts, so I got into doing background acting, and then tried to get into SAG as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
It took me about 6 to 8 months, which I think is pretty quick. I mean, a lot of people I've talked to, they've gone years before they got into the union, and because it's kind of just it's a weird system. It's just kind of a luck thing.
Yeah. It's not like your typical union, even though it's structured like that. It's still it's not like your typical union where you can just be good at your craft and go ahead and just sign up and get right in there. Like it's a process, I would imagine.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a weird situation, but I mean that's another. So I got into it around like I said, so about 2017. I happened to be managing a restaurant at the time when I started doing background acting, and slowly I started just like giving up my days because to go into for background acting roles, and because it's kind of a randomized system, it was more of a numbers game. I just needed to be there as often as possible. So
flood them with you.
I was trying to. I just started giving up my days at the restaurant that I was managing, and so just to give myself availability so that I can work on set as often as possible. And for a long time I was working like 5 days a week. I actually, when I got into the industry, I still had a mohawk, and for like 3 months, I got probably like 4 jobs total. And I was like, yeah, man, this isn't working for me. I shaved it off immediately, like the day after. Got signed up with a casting service for background actors, and I had such a good like military and like cop look. They had me working 5 days a week, pretty much the day after I shaved my hair.
There you go.
And that allowed me to jump in and get my get my union vouchers and get in relatively quickly. Became a regular on SWAT for the first like 4, maybe 5 seasons or so.
Awesome.
But did all the military shows at the time. That was like NCIS and SEAL Team and all that stuff. And
well, now you're part of the galactic military. I said, now you're part of the galactic military. Like,
right, exactly. Well, and that's the funny thing, man. I had no idea that this was even going to be Star Wars when I got it.
Yeah.
I just got asked for a military job, and because everything is secret and code named, and like the characters are code worded, and the project itself is code named, so I had no idea what it was, and it just said like military kind of soldier thing. I was like, I mean, that's what I do anyway. And then I show up and there's just Stormtrooper armor everywhere around the room. So it's a very fun surprise to show up to.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Now, may I ask, what is your martial art background?
I was pretty heavily into something called Subak Do.
Okay.
And I started in Tang Soo Do. Most people don't know what that is.
I know.
It's very similar to Taekwondo.
Okay.
And so if you're a fan of Cobra Kai or seen the original Karate Kid movies, that's what people know Tang Soo Do from. And that's when like the Karate Kid movies were around. Like I was actively training. I started when I was like 6 years old.
Awesome.
And trained for over 15 years actively. It's cool. I mean, I'm able to use it now in training. It wasn't. It was a very structured systems and very like spiritual, philosophical, and I think that has the most to do with who your instructor is, not necessarily like, oh, this system is one way and this system is another way. So
the yin and yang of things.
Yeah, and so I was pretty fortunate because I think I needed that structure at the time. You know, as when I was a kid, and so I think the situation that I had with my martial arts like upbringing and like not in so much like career, but
definitely had kind of an impact or like kind of paving the way for
huge. Yeah, huge for me. I mean, I don't know where I would be without martial arts, without that martial arts experience, and without like my direct instructor, who I was under pretty much the entire time that I was training in that system. He became like another father to me.
Awesome.
And you know, I was there more often than I was at home most of the time. I lived there. I lived at my studio for a long time. For several years when I was like I moved away too far, and I didn't have anyone to be able to drive me from where I moved to back to the studio. And you know, our studio was in Hollywood. I moved to the San Fernando Valley. It was about 30-40 minutes away. And then I got old, so I had to bail for several years after the move. And when I was old enough to take the bus, I started going after school. Like on Friday, I would wrap with high school and jump on the bus. It would take me like 2.5 hours to get there. It was like 2 buses, buses of the subway, and like a couple mile walk down to the school. And then I would actually live there at the studio for the weekend.
The dojo.
And then I would come back Sunday night, yeah. And then during summers, I would do the same thing, except I would even add, like, I would go there Monday morning, stay there through Thursday, come back Thursday night, spend the night at home, come back Friday morning. And that was my little Karate Kid life for several years. So
that's an amazing prequel to the story that is Dmitry. That's like an amazing build. Seriously, like it shows that's what. I feel like that's what maybe kind of shaped and built your character and
totally
the origin story.
got you set up to be able to do these amazing things that you're doing now. So I think that's pretty cool.
No, for real. I mean, it was so influential for me. I honestly don't know where I would be without it.
That's amazing.
Now, did you ever compete in the tournaments or anything like that?
I did, but our system didn't really promote doing open tournaments, so we really only competed within our own system.
Okay.
Which not a fan of that. I don't think, because you can't really pressure test against other styles and what other people do. You're just defending against the same thing that you already know. So it's a little. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that type of competition style.
Yeah.
But whatever, it is what it is. That was what I had access to as a kid, and that's what I did.
Okay.
The last competition I went to, actually, after I had already not quit, but I constantly went back and forth on like these hiatuses because my instructor, because I was doing all this stuff already with film industry, so I wasn't training actively. But my instructor would always try to bring me back, and I would swing by and then get caught up and like come by for a couple weeks and help teach the classes and train over there for a while. And then again, life would get hectic and I would have to bounce. But I got asked at one point, I forgot exactly when it was, maybe like 2014 or something like that. No, actually, I think it was like 16 or 17. I got asked after already not training for a few years, to join our regional sparring team for the national tournament that we had, or like the international tournament that we had going on, because Tungsudo and Subakdo are obviously there's a lot of people in Korea training it and other places around the world. So we were having a tournament in Texas, and I got asked to join the team, and broke my ankle at our very first training that happened leading up to the tournament. I actually have it on video. Oh man, I wish I had sent that in so you could put it up on the screen.
I don't know.
my
I would have had an
instructor's
ouch
wife was
moment, man.
recording. What's that?
I said I would have had an ouch moment, man. Tournaments.
It was so great though. I mean, I can laugh about it now. It wasn't all that funny then.
I was going to admit,
But
yeah.
we had just started like a practice match. Hadn't even put on our sparring gear or anything, and just kind of warming up. And we finished our first match, and I'm like circling back around to my original position, and I just take a step backwards, snap my foot 90 degrees, and we had hardwood floors too, so it was like the crack of the the joint, then like my ankle hitting the hardwood floor, crack throughout the school, and then me falling on my ass immediately after that, and the whole thing is on video because my instructor's wife happened to be recording the entire thing. Like I was just right up at the front at the time, and it's like perfectly on video. So, but yeah, ended up competing still. We got first place in our team. Our team got first place, and
You had a real moment that you really had to.
No, I definitely did not do that crap. But
right. Now, did you have a Mr. Miyagi do the whole thing with
the so I want to go back to a question that K-Hog had, and only because I know it was just a bit of an interesting point. He said, was the Trandoshan actual mask or was it CGI because it looked so real? That was an actual mask you were wearing when you.
Yeah, that was an actual mask. It's a silicone mask. It's very real. It's very heavy. It's like wearing just a solid chunk of rubber on your head. So very heavy, very cumbersome. Also, so with the Trandoshan in particular, especially like I said, I had to look kind of sideways for things. With the silicone masks, because first of all, it like suctions onto you, and you try to turn your head, it tries to pull you back in the direction of center. So it's like just a workout wearing it the entire time because you have like a resistance band pulling you back to where you were. Plus the excess weight, yeah. So it was a neck workout anytime wearing those silicone masks. A lot of the other masks that some of the characters that you put up on screen already, they were latex, and that's like a soft rubber material. It's very light and very kind of squishy foam.
Yeah.
So those are a lot easier. Just in general, they're way lighter. They don't have that pull situation. Like these guys, like the Tusken Raiders, are actually under the wrappings. These are the Mandalorian Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
And under that wrapping is a silicone mask like the Trandoshan. So again, very heavy, very sticky. That like heavy solid rubber. These are the Boba Fett
ones,
Tusken Raiders, and they're not like that. They were made for us specifically for the Book of Boba Fett, and they're a lot lighter. They're like a light mask frame that then they put the wrappings over. So they were way better, super breathable, super light, way easier to move around in. Also, I don't know, are you able to put those masks side by side by chance?
I don't think I can, but I can definitely go
just from one to the other.
I can from one to the other. So we're gonna go from the Mandalorian one.
So these guys, the eye holes on these are way longer and a lot more narrow than when they switch to the. These guys are pretty difficult to see because it's the vision is really far away, and then the Book of Boba Fett ones got changed to be really way shorter. So where your eyesight starts only like an inch or so, maybe a couple inches away from your face, and they made them wider. So our visibility and just the ease of being these characters dramatically increased from the Mando Tuskens, which were the style of like the original Tusken Raiders back in New Hope and Phantom Menace, to like the tribe from Book of Boba Fett that were a completely different look. So
gotcha. Because like I'm noticing how, like you said, those were a lot wider and not as long as the other ones were. So and again, that just lends to that whole thing about your visibility and being able to see and do your job, like and still having to kind of overcome all of those things. So I think Jomar kind of doubled up on us, and there he goes, he's back. So yeah, like I said, I just think that like I said, that's just the kind of one of those amazing things that a lot of people don't realize that you've got to perform actual stunts, and you've got to actually do things that we would take for granted, like mundane things that we would take for granted. They're a lot more difficult for you to have to do, and that's, to me, that's just an amazing thing. So
thanks, man. Yeah, again, they all have their ups and downs, so it just depends on the day. Like I said, the troopers are pretty rough, just because everything gets in the way. But you got to make it look like a human is doing it. Like there's an actual person inside this armor. Like the stormtroopers aren't robots. Like they're still human inside. And when you have all that armor, that bulky armor getting in the way of everything, if you're doing it slow and you're doing it controlled, you will run into points where you just can't like, you can't like reach behind yourself because you just don't have the limit, the range of motion like that.
Yeah.
But then you have to do it for a stunt, and you just gotta send it, and then you end up like twisted up in a weird way and you die. That's just how you have to do it.
That's how you have to send it. Like that's right. That's crazy.
Yeah, you just gotta push through those little kinks and bumps, whatever.
Yeah, I think one of our guys on here, Raph, said that it must be interesting. Good luck. I think he said, here it is. I think he said, good luck trying to sit down in a stormtrooper suit. Like,
yeah. I actually can.
Yeah.
So if you guys have seen like the 501st members wearing, rocking their stormtroopers at like cons or anything, they can't sit down in theirs because of the material it's made out of.
Yeah.
But there's a super light. And so it's easier to wear for a long period of time, but it's really brittle, and there's zero flex in it. So if you sit down on that butt plate, it'll just snap.
Yeah,
ours is made out of a different material, but it's way thicker. So all of those pinch points become way worse because there's more material there. But it is like it's vulcanized, like so kind of rubbery. It's really stiff still, but there is a little bit of flex. So we can actually sit down in our suits. But it's still tough to move in it.
Man, I bet you going to the bathroom would be hard.
That's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I would imagine that's a challenge. That's
be like cut.
Yeah.
Those are definitely not like big eating days as a stormtrooper. You're not trying to stuff your face before going out there to do some kind of stunts or even just walking around, man. Like you don't want to be like full and get even tighter in that armor.
Constricting armor. Yeah, I couldn't imagine be like squeezed, almost feel like you're squeezed into that armor. So no, that's cool. Like I said, I mean, I think it's really, really, really cool that you've gotten to be all these different characters and be a part of all of these different aspects of the Star Wars universe. I think that's really cool. I almost feel like you've got even a cooler job than being a main character, because again, you get to be a part of all of these different aspects of the universe, and you get to play pivotal roles. Like, I mean, you can honestly, you're the only person that can say I'm the stormtrooper that shot Grogu. Like, I mean, like there's no one else that's gonna be able to like say, at least not yet. Like hopefully there won't be too many people shooting at that thing. But I mean, that's a cool thing to say. I mean, I would to me that would be a cool thing. My resume is I'm the trooper that shot Grogu. Like, how many people could say that?
I know, man. I've definitely felt that. I mean, I've heard the same or very similar sentiment from a lot of fans that I've met at over the years at conventions and stuff. And but I felt the same way, man. Like when we finished shooting it, back in season 2, that was all I really had at the time to share with anybody. But before it released, I couldn't talk about it, obviously. So I was just sitting there like, I didn't want to tell somebody that I shot Grogu, man. But like nobody, obviously I gotta wait. But then when it released, and in season 1, obviously there's like the biker scouts that are beating him up in the bag and everything.
Yeah. I almost pulled that up on YouTube just to show that one, where they're just beating him up in the bag and then get confronted by the IG unit, like as
right.
Yeah.
So like they had that moment, but then getting to actually shoot him, and then like you know, that was a goofy moment. Like it was very slapstick, and like the
Oh,
dialogue was pretty comical, and you know, not in a bad way. It was very funny.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But then in a much more serious moment with, you know, with Moff Gideon going in and really like teasing Grogu with the dark saber and everything, and then like, all right, it's time for you to go to sleep now. So
yeah. No, like I said, I just
cool moment.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. That's that to me is amazing. Somebody asked, Van asked, is it painful? So he couldn't join us unfortunately on the video, but he asked 3 times, is it painful? And I'm not sure exactly what. Oh, he asked also, do you get claustrophobic at all in those masks? I feel like you look a little too seasoned to me to ever feel like you'd get claustrophobic in there. But does it ever get kind of just yeah?
I didn't, but I think that's why, and that one of the reasons that I ended up coming back so much. So like, I didn't really have an issue with it, but I did see it happen. So like initially, you know, when we came in as the Tusken Raiders in season 2 for that first episode, you know, fighting the Krayt Dragon, we had a pretty large team that was already we were all fit and you know, fit for the costumes, and a lot of people that were working already back in season 1 came to do that role. Like we got specifically requested before the season even started, and we all showed up, and it was our first day. We had already tried the masks on and everything, and they fit fine, but it was our first day on set actually doing it for the show, and we got into our masks, and everybody had this moment of, oh, this is weird. Everybody shut up completely. Everybody went silent and kind of like tried to individually figure out their like kind of get in the zone.
Try to calibrate a little bit. Yeah, try to kind of like mentally calibrate and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not comfortable. The vision, like again, the vision is weird. Everything changes, and it like. I mean, I think everybody that was there originally were fine. Like some people had a little more difficulty with it than others, but everybody was more or less fine. But then over time, we would have people that were just like no longer available for the job or whatever. They had to be replaced.
Gotcha.
And we would have, you know, a new person come in on set and then get into the mask. And I did see a few like genuine freakouts and then they were like, yeah, man, I thought I could do it, but I can't. I mean, I didn't know that I was claustrophobic. I thought I'd be fine, and then you learn something important about yourself pretty quickly. So I definitely saw a few moments like that, and then people they're like, sorry, man, I mean, we can't use you. You can't do the job, so we got to send you home and unfortunately get somebody else.
I mean, that's a real thing though. It's like, you know, nobody's gonna know. Nobody's like walking around putting on Tusken Raider costumes at their house, getting ready for an audition or something like that. So it's like, you know, they don't, obviously you wouldn't know until you got put into that position, and it's like that's just a crazy thing to kind of knock you out of the running on for working on a Star Wars project is that you freaked out inside of a Tusken Raider outfit like that you didn't know was going to happen. So again, kudos to you, because I mean, again, like, you know, I think you've got the little bit of that experience under your belt, so you were able to work through it and rock it out.
What's really cool is I actually got to recently use the experience that I got all over the you know, doing all these characters on Star Wars a couple years ago. I did a stunt on my first Western a couple years ago.
Ooh.
It was being lit on fire, but and I've been lit on fire before, so like that's cool in its own right. But it was wearing a silicone mask of the actor that I was doubling, and because it was going to be the burn is like stationary fully. So normally when you're on fire, you can move to get out of the fire, so like the flame is going behind you, so you can still, so it's not just wrapping around you. So the burn that we did was pretty much me on my knees, and like my upper body was just fully engulfed in flames. So I couldn't breathe the entire time. So I'm actually wearing a mask that was molded off of the actor's face, and you know, painted to look exactly like his face, and it's like, you know, it's him like in his death moment. And then I couldn't breathe because the mask was fully closed, no eye holes, no mouth hole. So I have just vinyl tubes going that I'm holding, just like biting down on in my mouth, and then they run down my back and through my clothes, like out my like out down my back and out of my shirt.
Out of your shirt. Wow, that's crazy.
So I'm still able to breathe during that moment, just because it's fully like the fire is fully enveloping me. And I was like, I've never done that before, you know, I've never done a burn like that, because that's a pretty, this stuff like that doesn't come around super often on you know, on TV and films and stuff. So it was cool to get to use that. It's kind of the passive training that I got from Star Wars, by being in all these masks constantly with different like ranges of visibility and comfort and everything. So I felt really confident going into it when I got told, like, hey, this is what we want you to do. I was like, yeah, I can make that happen, no problem.
Yes, I got this, no problem.
Yeah, and I even got into it, and everybody was a little, you know, apprehensive about it, because like they don't know, you never know what the performer is also going to do, and kind of vice versa. Like I'm not really sure how I'm going to react. There's fire, like there's a lot of different variables.
There's fire, like
yeah, right.
So I honestly thought, like, actually when we were setting up, I was like, man, I was expecting to be a little more nervous, or maybe like a little more amped up to do it when it actually came time to get into the mask and light the fire. And I even surprised myself. And I'm not genuinely not trying to like toot my own horn, but I was like, I felt so calm in the moment. And I was like, wow, I really thought I would get like the adrenaline rush of having this all happen. And I was like so chill that actually doing the stunt, I was like, dude, that's freaking amazing. It was so cool. And you know, did it. It worked perfectly. Everything was great. Everybody clapped, and it was awesome. But it was just really cool to be able to get to use
that was amazing. Like honestly, just you telling that story.
Not expecting that.
Just you telling that story though, like it lends, like I said, to that experience that you've gotten. And like I said, you think about some of those guys that freaked out in the Tusken Raider outfit, like they would have been able to, you know, no shade to those guys, but they would have never been able to do something like that. Like I know that I probably would have freaked out and just been and running from you. Like you said, you add the element of fire, you know, the whole not being able to like properly necessarily breathe. You had all those other elements, the tightness of the mask, like I said, you know, getting claustrophobic in that scene or in that sense would be catastrophic. You know what I'm saying? Like that not to mention like you wouldn't be able to do you might not get fired from the job, but it could be catastrophic to safety if
for sure. That's exactly why, like if you know you can't do it, and the people actually said, like, you know what, this isn't for me. I thought I'd be able to, but I can't. It's a safety issue, because like I mean, not the fire stuff, but even just like wearing it and walking around, and like, you know, you don't want somebody to freak out, have an anxiety attack, and in the middle of a scene or something, and then you can't. It doesn't. Not all of those masks are just like a quick slip on. You know, you can take off. So especially those Tusken Raiders, like they're pretty decently like sealed in for a while. It takes like 2 other people to get it off of you, and especially if somebody's like panicking, freaking out, like that's not going to go well.
No, that's not going to go at all. Not to mention the damage you could do to some pretty expensive wardrobe there. So because that was, like I said, that Van had that question about wearing masks and stuff like that between breaks. And,
I see Van's question. Yeah. So I think the most usually, so they were pretty good on set with us, especially with like the creature masks. We wouldn't really go over about an hour or so at a time. Which, I mean, that's a long time wearing one of those masks. But we would get like breaks in between. And sometimes it's just like the day is so heavy with those scenes, you know, so they would have us like an hour, then like a break for 15, 20 minutes or something like that. But realistically, there's so many setups in between that we would get time to take it off even for a few minutes. And it just depended on the day. I think the most we were in for was probably like an hour, maybe like an hour, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. But usually they kept it at about an hour at the most. and then we would have moments of it's like, put it on for 10 minutes, take it off for 2 hours, wear it for an hour, take it off for 10 minutes, wear it for another hour, and then like you're done for the day. Or it was super situational. And normally we are wearing the masks between breaks, if it's like, or between takes, I mean, because that just goes too fast. If they have to fully reset and like when they're changing angles, that usually takes, several minutes, or like 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on what the next setup is going to be. So usually for that, we would take the masks off. Even if it was just for a few minutes. If we had the crew that were like the special effects, like the legacy effects people who we're usually working with, that would help us with the masks, like taking them on and off. If we had enough people and we weren't overwhelming, if there's only a few of us, then we could take it off more often.
Of course.
But if we have 20 people in masks and only like 3 people to assist with, like that takes a while. Yeah. So, but again, they knew that. So like, if there's a lot of us, they would generally have more people to help us with that stuff. But it didn't always work that way. So it just
pan out that way.
Yeah. But they were pretty good about it. I think they took care of us, specifically like with the creatures and anybody that was wearing some stuff on their face. Like they were pretty good to us with that stuff. So.
I mean, I'd imagine, like you said, eating and things like that just weren't necessarily a priority when you're on set and all that.
Yeah, so, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just like, I genuinely like, I would get into a space, like a kind of a happy place for myself, because it is still annoying. Like it's still a job. Like you're still doing work. It's not always fun. It's a lot of the time it's really tedious, and you're just doing the same thing over and over and over. So it's not the most glamorous stuff, and it is still stressful on your body and anyway. But the funny thing is, we'd have folks walking around with like fans. So like the times that we can't fully take a mask off, they would bring us like a fan that you can stick into like a mouth hole or something, so you can get air inside the mask. And I would always just like in between takes when we were having it on, I would just kind of like sit there looking down and just get into like a comfortable position for myself. And then I would always have people coming over to me and checking on me like, hey, are you okay? Do you want like the fan? And I generally wouldn't take the fan because I just didn't want the air in my, I already have kind of like dry eyes sometimes. And then you're wearing the mat, or like you blow air through an eye hole directly into my eyes. That's not great.
And then I'd imagine that can't feel good under like all those layers or your
right, and you can't mess it. You can't like rub your eye afterwards. So it's just like, I would stay away from it.
So, well, I mean, like Dmitry, it sounds like I said, it sounds amazing. I have a comment. I don't even know if I want to put this comment up here, only because like I don't want to. But Ben says that you are the most hated character in the Star Wars franchise, behind Jar Jar.
Hey man, notoriety is great.
I was gonna say, bad press is still good press. Right. No, but I mean, I feel like you playing all these different like tertiary characters kind of makes you gives you like you span it like over all of these parts of the universe, and that's something that a lot of people can't say. So I mean, again, I hate to keep beating a dead horse on that, but I just think that's amazing, and I also think that you've got plenty of road ahead of you as far as this. I mean, do you have any up and coming projects that you can discuss? I don't want to like get into anything that you got to keep under wraps if you have to, but do you have any up and coming projects within the Star Wars universe that you can discuss, or even outside of the universe?
Star Wars wise, well, I mean, I can honestly say right now, nothing that's like nothing really to talk about. Things are still unfortunately up and down within the film industry. Stuff is still relatively slow. There's there are a few things that I'm like talking about, but or like I have communication with that isn't really like locked in yet.
Okay.
So we're all hoping that stuff continues to ramp up steadily and more and more jobs keep coming up. Star Wars wise though, I think for me, at least for now, it's over. And it was fun while it lasted. I'm not saying that I'm necessarily like closing the door fully, but if you didn't know, all the productions that we had that were going on here in Los Angeles, all the way from season 1 of Mando through the Mandalorian Grogu movie, it was filmed here in LA. So Mando, Boba Fett, Kenobi, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and the movie were all filmed at the same studios here in Manhattan Beach. And after the movie wrapped up over here, all of that got packed up and shipped over to Europe. So they shot season 2 of Ahsoka in England already last year.
Okay.
So as much as I would have loved to continue and participate and come play for season 2 and continue being a night trooper, that was too difficult to make it work for that. With visas and
I gotcha.
Potentially relocating and all that stuff. So
for sure.
Like I said, I'm not fully closing the door on it because I'm still certainly more than willing to do that if they would like me to. But they have a whole pool of people that they can choose from over there. Actually, a lot of them I've met when I've done some conventions over in the UK also, and I've met some of the actors that have been on some of the other Star Wars movies that filmed in the UK.
Okay.
And that's in their court.
Court. Well, I feel like the ball will bounce back into your court, Dmitry. I have high hopes for you, and I think yeah, most definitely. Like I said, and if whether it does or not, you still have a very, very prominent resume under your belt for being in the Star Wars universe. And like I said, I definitely am nuts and appreciate some of the things you've done. You got your own Funko Pop. I want to pull that up real quick because I think that's amazing. We got it right here. I think that's super cool. Thrawn's
That was such a fun surprise, man. Dude, time for a quick funny story.
Yeah, for sure. We'll make time for sure.
All right. So you put up a picture of this already earlier, but so this guy right here. So I get asked a lot if I was able to keep anything from set and any of the projects that I worked on, and we can't. It's just so difficult. I mean, it's impossible, really. Like everything is tracked. It's crazy. Things are locked down very. So this helmet for me was made by a buddy of mine in Judah Escalante. He was actually the one who he made them for Ahsoka. So they took 40 stormtroopers and did all of the individual design work for the night troopers on Ahsoka. And ran into him at an event a couple years ago, and he offered to make me a night trooper. And I was like, well, would it be possible for you to make the one that I was actually wearing, my stunt one that I did the scenes with Ezra? And so we worked to find references and stuff like that. I pulled everything I could from the show, and so he made me this helmet. And the funny thing is, after Ahsoka released, so you put the pop up on screen. I had people bringing me the night troopers to sign, and I was like, oh yeah, I was one of these night troopers. And there were, 2 different pops that came out.
Yeah.
But it didn't occur to me that the one that they used, it was just me completely spacing. But it took Judah actually bringing this to me at LA Comic-Con to my table and handing it over to me. And I had one of these pops actually sitting on my table, and he gave me the helmet, and I was like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot.
Is me.
I completely spaced and didn't realize that it was actually the specific design that I was wearing on the show. And I certainly felt really goofy. But it was such a cool moment to finally realize that oh man, that's so dope to actually be one of the 2 Funko Pops that released. And
yeah, that's you. That is actually
so freaking cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Dmitry, man, I have to say, man, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise, man.
You honestly, I mean, I know it was through no fault of anyone. We weren't able to get Van on here. And so you are actually my first actual interview while working with the Kyber Cave production. So thank you very much. You were amazing. You're an amazing person.
Awesome. Thank you.
I hope to maybe get you on again. Maybe we'll get you on when we can work out some of our technical issues and whatnot. But
I'm down, man.
We would love to. We'll definitely stay in contact. And like I said, definitely looking forward to seeing anything that you have to do in the future, man. You've been awesome, and you're an awesome guest to have on. So thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. All right, you take care now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys. Later.
All right,
my brother. My apologies for the lady, man. Excuse my life.
Oh, no, you're good, brother. Hey, so that was our man, Dmitriy Karas, and I hope I'm saying his name right. And I, like I said, I think he was an amazing guest to have on. So that was our cool surprise, guys. Thank you all for joining us. We had a phenomenal time. I'm sorry that my man Dan could not be here. And we'll, like I said, we'll have to run it back, and we'll have to get Dmitry back on again at some point in the future, and be able to get Van on here. So thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate the Kyber Cave family as always, and sorry for the bit of a disrupt in the flow of the show, no pun intended. But thank you guys all for joining us, and yeah, man, we had a good time, and I appreciate you guys tuning in.
And please excuse my lighting, man. I'm just, on the travel right now, and I'm glad.
You're coming from a con, you're coming from a con, bro. That you're excused, dude. You're totally excused about that, brother. Hey, but thank you for being here with me, Jomar. I appreciate you, man. Sure. I appreciate your input, and hey, man, this is another one of the books. So, guys, thank you.
This is the way.
Yep, this is the way. So, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Tune in next week again, because we're going to be rocking out. It's going to be another Gen X-Men episode. We got some cool stuff to talk about. Gen X-Men back next week. Let's get out of here.
And a quick shout out to all those who came by the booth today, and then new subscribers that's joining in right now at Stockton Con. It was an amazing show. Thank you guys again, and until next time.
Till next time, guys. We love you. Peace.
Yeah.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.